This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
I think it's more of the Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is. Anyways, how are you? Today is Tuesday, July the 29th of 2025, day 210th of the year, and only 155 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, yes. Infiltration, Radio Big. Nothing better combination-wise as we are talking. No doubt about that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what our show consists of. We talk about safety in the news and safety. Really no other way around it. So that's how it goes. If you want to interact with the show, simple process, callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. That will get everything moving and grooving. Once you get there, video, audio, text messaging. Video, audio, text messaging are the options of what you can do once you get there. So a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse as we are doing our things. So, outside of that, how have you been? How's the last 24 been? Are you glad that we could make it back yesterday and start doing everything that was going on inside of this side of the integration? No doubt there. So with that being said, why don't we start talking about how we do it? We talk about safety, we talk about the news, we talk about news and safety. We bring in some professional broadcasters, they talk a little bit about what the hell's going on, and then we kind of go from there. That is the whole show. Oh, yeah, and I do a main story at some point. Oh, that's it. So we are on a radio station that we ended up putting on a podcast and a live stream as well. So right now we are broadcasting on safetyfm.com, also the app, also on iHeartRadio, also on Odyssey, also on Pandora. You kind of get the point. So we're broadcasting across all these things. And then we slap it onto a podcast at the 8 o'clock hour. So if you don't get it live on the streamer, and we are on radiobig.fm at the same time too, but then we also do it on the videos on different aspects, meaning that we are on different social media platforms. So there's a different array of ways of getting this thing, if you're intrigued or interested in doing so. So anyways, with that being said, why don't we start talking about what the hell was trending?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about a notable in where the North Korea expands its travel by 33% overnight. So there you go. Also, Hulk Hogan's memoir returns to the bestsellers list, and J-Lo suffers a wardrobe malfunction on the stage. We'll talk about that in show business. Also, Stormtroopers helmet sales were big at auction, and Coyote versus Acme finally gets a release date. And we'll talk about that as we're getting to casting calls. And Prince Harry takes another step towards amends with the Royals. So a lot of stuff to discuss, no doubt about that. So with that being said, I have my friends waiting from Feature Story News wanting to tell you exactly what the hell is going on in the news cycle. So if you're ready for this, I'm ready for it, and then we'll start moving and grooving. So let's do that right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Neha Punia. 5 people have died, including a New York City police officer, following a shooting inside a midtown Manhattan skyscraper. The gunman, who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, walked into the large building near Park Avenue around 6 p.m. local time and opened fire. Mitch McCann was reporting from the scene.
A large contingent of police officers, including state police and FBI agents, still surrounded a number of commercial buildings near 53rd Street in Midtown Manhattan on Monday night, following the shooting that took place shortly after 6 p.m. local time. It's reported that the incident occurred when the gunman walked inside 345 Park Avenue, a large building that houses companies such as the investment management firm Blackstone and the National Football League. Shortly before 8 p.m, the NYPD wrote in a social media post, the scene has been contained and the lone shooter has been neutralized. The New York Times reports that the shooter is a 27-year-old man from Las Vegas, and reports suggest he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Thailand's army has accused Cambodia of violating an hours-old truce, saying clashes continued despite a deal meant to end the bloody fighting. Cambodia's Prime Minister saying the ceasefire is holding. This follows peace talks in Malaysia the day before, where both sides agreed on an unconditional ceasefire that would start at midnight to end fighting at their border. At least 33 people have died and thousands of people displaced since fighting began.
A Thai army spokesman said at the time the agreement took effect, the Thai side detected that Cambodian forces had launched armed attacks into several areas within Thai territory. He added this was a deliberate violation of the agreement and that Thailand retaliated proportionally in self-defense. But Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet said in a Tuesday morning message on Facebook that the front line had eased since the ceasefire at 12 midnight. The situation escalated last week after a Thai soldier lost his leg in a landmine explosion. Both sides exchanged gunfire early last Thursday, with each claiming the other had triggered the conflict. Laura Westbrook, Hong Kong.
The Trump administration will not allow Taiwan's president to stop in New York en route to Central America. It comes as the U.S. holds trade talks with China ahead of a potential summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Nick Harper is in Washington.
Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te was planning to transit the U.S. in August en route to visiting diplomatic allies Paraguay, Guatemala and Belize. The Financial Times is reporting that President Donald Trump denied the stopover after China raised objections. The White House decision comes as officials from both countries hold talks aimed at extending their trade truce. The move is likely to deepen concerns among Taiwan's supporters that President Trump is softening his stance on China as he seeks a summit with President Xi.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, with more today on President Trump's apparent break with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, after the US leader said real starvation is taking place in Gaza. Speaking in Scotland, President Trump said he will work to bring food aid to the territory and distribute it in a new manner. Israel has rejected as a lie suggestions that it is fueling hunger in the territory. Michael Hanna is US Program Director at the International Crisis Group.
The images of children in particular have left an imprint. It is notable that he is acknowledging that. Israel has tried to deny that people are starving in Gaza, and Donald Trump seems to affirm the fact that it is happening. What is also notable is the lack of urgency around trying to ameliorate the situation. There is a kind of distance between the enormity of the crisis and what is happening at this point to try to better the situation. And so, as of today, based on Trump's own comments, it doesn't appear that there is the requisite urgency to really forestall what could be, what is already catastrophic and could be much, much worse.
Hamas has denied Israeli claims that it is stealing food aid, and over the weekend, the New York Times reported that senior Israeli army officials say the country's military has seen no evidence to support that contention. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
The main news again. 5 people have died, including a New York City police officer, following a shooting inside a Midtown Manhattan skyscraper. 30 people have died in Beijing as China experiences days of heavy rains and flooding. 80,000 people have been relocated from China's capital with more rain forecast. And that is the latest feature story news. Neha Punya reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, yeah, something magical as we are, 16 minutes past the top of the hour, still doing our thing around here. No doubt about that. So let's start getting into it because, it's time to talk a little bit about everything that's going on inside of the world of the news, because that is kind of what we do around here as we get everything started. So there you go. Anyways, okay. Miss Maxwell has filed an appeal with the Supreme Court to overturn her 2021 conviction on multiple sex trafficking charges. The suit argues that if she was unlawfully prosecuted for her crimes based on the 2007 plea agreement her former boss, Jeffrey Epstein, negotiated with federal prosecutors. That deal said that the feds would not institute any criminal charges against any potential conspirators of Epstein. The question now is whether the deal with the U.S. Attorney's Office applies across the whole country. Such issues have been contemplated in circuit appeals courts, but the case could provide clarity with the Supreme Court ruling. So this is according to Axios. So what do you think here? There's a lot of questions about this one, no doubt. It's kind of one of those weird spots. I'm not even sure what to say about this one because it's kind of all over the place. And, when you start watching Meet the Press and all that shit over the weekend, it kind of screws with your head when this stuff starts coming out. So who even knows?
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so Russian Airlines Nordwind has opened a direct route from Moscow to North Korea. The first flight departed on Sunday with 400 passengers. Russia Transportation Minister says that the flight will only operate once a month and takes about 8.5 hours. A more regular 2-hour flight already operates from, let's see if I can butcher this, Vladivostok, I think, of Russia's east coast, one of the 3 typical arrivals inside of North Korea's airport every day. The other 2 originate in Beijing and Shanghai, China. This is according to NBC News. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un Jr.'s sister said on Monday that the regime has no interest in opening dialogue with South Korea, new leftist government. We clarify that once again, the official stand that no matter what policy is adopted and whatever proposal is made with Seoul, we have no interest in it. There is neither a reason to meet nor an issue to be discussed, she said in a statement to give to the state media. This is according to AP.
Duh.
So I don't know. It makes it pretty interesting. I think that we're not having a conversation at all. It's like trying to get back with your ex. It's probably not a good thing. No, I'm just saying. Yeah, but no new convo. That's for sure. Pretty weird times about some stuff. I don't know what's going on in the world. I stopped the news cycle there. in regards to doing this for a week. And it's just kind of when I come back into it, brains all over the place when it comes to this. Anyways, take a listen to this. As Meta lays the groundwork for a massive data center in northeastern Louisiana that won't be operational until the start of next decade, property values are already soaring in the area. Some ritzy residents, the high-end enclave Holly Ridge, have doubled in value in less than a year. At the high end, a mansion listed for $7.5 million last November is now $16.3 million. And for the practical homes and properties that were listed for $463,000 last December is now listed at $775,000. Once completed, the data will occupy 2,200 acre campus, about 70 football fields worth of area, and employ about 500 employees. This is according to the Daily Mail. So this will make it pretty interesting when it's all said and done, is what it's starting to sound like. So what are you thinking when it's all said and done? Do you wish you would have bought in Louisiana prior to? Because it definitely makes it interesting when it's all said and done. So let's talk about this. The average American spends about 10 hours a day online across various screens and devices, according to a new survey. Just about half the time, 5 hours and 24 minutes, is spent browsing, working, gaming, social media, emails, or paying bills. The rest is streaming video or TV content. A majority now stream straight to TV at 55%, while 20% stick to their phone and 25% to their laptop or tablet. So let's talk about that. What do you normally stream in and eaming? Because, people want to know that stuff. Do you say that it's 55% on the TV? I don't know. I always look at this and I go, I can tell you probably the app that I spent the most time on. I'm not sure which versionality I'm using to make sure that it's coming across.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
I'm just saying, reality of the whole thing. Let's keep it real, man. Let's keep it real. Okay, Nash Keene was only 10 ounces when he was born, more than 19 weeks early last July. After spending 6 months in NICU at the University of Iowa Healthcare, Steed Family Children's Hospital. Man, that's a short name. Where they affectionately refer to him as Nash Potato. Keene is now a strong and happy 1-year-old. Not only did he recently celebrate his first birthday, Keene is also given the title of the world's most premature baby of all time by the Guinness Book of World Records. Well, that's a record to have. For the record, born at 147 days, Keene beat the previous record holder, the world's most premature baby, by 1 day. Is this something you really want bragging rights to? I mean, I don't know. It kind of gets kind of strange when it's all said and done. Okay, so let's talk about this one. The newly released emails that were proving the whole Trump-Russia collusion narrative was a hoax from the start, according to what the writer's saying here. The main, perpetrators were fraud has deleted the entire posting on a history of X. Peter Herzog, who led the investigation against Trump, appeared to have wiped the entire account out on Monday, as the director of National Intelligence Office has announced potential criminal referrals to the Department of Justice. Also, disgraced Congressman George Santos has begun his prison sentence. He is reported to the FCI in New Jersey on Friday to begin his 7-year sentence for fraud conviction. Though he is likely not to remain at the facility, he also owes nearly $375,000 in fines. So besides that, you got 7 years in the pokey, $375,000 in fines. Man, what a good time that sounds like. Also, President Trump has asked the court overseeing his lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch, that the Wall Street Journal, to expedite Murdoch's deposition because the media mogul is 94 years old and could die any day. The request for the deposition would allow the interview to be recorded and played back at the trial if Murdoch was to be incapacitated or 6 feet under. The lawsuit says that Trump's response to the Wall Street Journal's report that Trump had sent a salacious birthday letter to Jeffrey Epstein 25 years ago, which Trump denies. I don't know. Interesting times. Think about it real quick. A deposition that could be used if something was to happen. That's going to be some interesting stuff coming about. So don't worry there, because it's definitely going to get interesting.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Okay, so let's talk about the Dow, because some people are going to care about this. The Dow was down about 64 points to close at 44,837 on Monday. The S&P ticked up by 1 point to close at 6,389, and the NASDAQ was up by 70 points to close at 21,178. West Texas Intermediate closed at $67 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $69 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.14 on Monday, and Bitcoin fell back under $118,000. And tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $130 million jackpot or $57.5 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. Anyway, take a listen to this as we go into a little bit of the showbiz stuff. Club Random podcast host Bill Maher is walking back comments that he made about President Trump's tariff plan after agreeing with the fearmongers that the economy would tank by the 4th of July. I would have thought, and gotta own it, that these tariffs were going to fucking sink the economy by this time. And they didn't, he said on Monday's episode. The stock market is a record high, Bill Maher continued, and I don't see a country in a depression at all. I see it out there just living their lives. This is according to the Wrap, so there you go. Interesting times. And listen, I know that Bill Maher, for some people, is considered controversial. I always say that it's kind of weird when people are like, listen, I vote on one side of the aisle and one side of the aisle alone, and that's what I run with. If you listen to Bill Maher, he kind of says, hey, this is what my thought process is about the whole thing. You know, he did have the show called Politically Incorrect for a long time. So there you go. Just look at it that way. So take a listen to this. Hulk Hogan's 2009 memoir, My Life Outside the Ring, returned to the bestsellers list following his passing last week. Co-authored by Mark D'Agostino, the book takes a deep dive into the unraveling of the Hogan's 23-year marriage, the near-fatal car crash involving his teenage son, a highly publicized downward spiral that played across tabloid covers and reality television. The several antidotes dedicated to his time at WWE superstar, despite having left wrestling world behind. Hogan died last week at the age of 71. This is all according to Variety. So there you go. Some interesting stuff for sure. And I have to tell you, if you did stick around and were watching Monday Night Raw last night on good old Netflix, they did another dedication to him, which they had also done on Friday on SmackDown, which you can watch that on the USA Network here in the U.S., and it was two different ones. It was two totally different retrospectives of his career and what he had done for the industry. And I was kind of shocked by it. And I don't mean it because of what the content was, but it looked like the first package. Of course, everybody was in shock. He passed away on Thursday. They had it ready by Friday. And then this one had a little bit more to it. But I think that going through the whole thing, and sometimes we can be a little fickle about stuff, and let's just be realistic. It was amazing to see that there was a picture of Hulk Hogan that was played during the whole thing that he was with Vince McMahon, because for a long time it was under the impression that WWE would not be mentioning Vince McMahon for a period of time. So I don't know. For some reason, from once everything started happening, I was under the impression that Vince McMahon might show up. Because, listen, they did play a big part in each other's lives for a period of time. I know. Going on a wrestling rant real quick, but I'm just saying in general. Okay, take a listen to this. Do we want to talk about this? Yeah, let's do this. Jennifer Lopez lost her bottoms while performing in Warsaw, Poland over the weekend. The wardrobe malfunction occurred while her band belted out Happy Birthday to a recently turned 56-year-old. I'm glad they were reinforced that the costume, and I'm glad that I had underwear on. I don't usually wear underwear. Lopez laughed off the incident to the crowd. There was 0 complaints by the fans, according to page 6. So there you go. What else do we want to talk about? Because we are, moments away from casting calls. Take a listen to this. Tom Cruise attended Oasis's Wembley Stadium over the weekend, to go to their show. Despite having been bashed by the band in the past, Oasis frontman Liam and Noel Gallagher roasted Cruise in 2007 rock documentary, saying that he's not been in one good film his entire career. Noel then added, "I hate Tom Cruise, that bastard." Cruise later confronted Liam about the comment, though what exactly was said is unknown. So there you go. Let me give you this one too, real quick too. Police officers responded to a burglary alarm in L.A. home of Evan Ross and Ashley Simpson earlier on Monday. The place was cleared by officers that concluded that the trespasser either fled or it was a false alarm. The couple were not home at the time of the incident, and the call is the latest in a string of break-ins in the area. This is according to TMZ. Yep, TMZ, in regards to some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world. So with that being said, we are so close to the 32-minute mark that I think it is time for us to talk about some other stuff that is going on in our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, I love when I press the wrong button and the screen goes haywire. And it's not that it's going haywire because something went wrong. It's going haywire because there was a single point failure system and I pressed the wrong thing, and that is what has occurred. Isn't that interesting? So let's talk, because I think that that's where we need to go. We need to go into some of the world of the weird sometimes, because we talk about all kinds of stuff and we take a look around and we say this and we say that and we do this and then we do the other and all that kind of fun stuff. So with that being said, I want to talk about this really weird thing that we do as humans. And let's talk about some of these weird concepts. So I am going to make some assumptions here as we are talking, so bear with me just a few moments. But I am going to make an assumption that you drive a car. And I'm going to make an assumption that maybe you ride a bike. And I'm going to make an assumption that at some point you either did one or the other. And then I'm going to bring in this very other odd thing that we do. These social agreements that we have that we never discuss. And you're going, what the hell are you talking about? So let me kind of give some explainer-ainers here. Our social agreements kind of go something like this. I agree that if you are in one lane of traffic going one direction, and I am in another lane of traffic going the opposite direction, we have a social agreement that you are not going to pass the yellow line that is in between us. It could be a solid yellow line. It could be a chopped up yellow line. But we have a social agreement that you will not come over that line. Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but yellow lines are not the greatest barriers. It's kind of easy to go over, easy to go into the other lane. But we have the social agreement that we are going to agree that this line means something. We also have a social agreement that if you pull up to a light, well, most of us do. Let me rephrase that. And the light is red, you're going to come to a stop, specifically at an intersection, as the other light turns green for I can go, or vice versa. Now, I don't know if you know this, but a red light is not a very good barrier system either, because nothing is impeding my way to be able to go across. The same thing with the yellow line. And I always find it interesting that we have these social contracts that we agree to. And not that it's a bad thing, but it's interesting on how sometimes when we start talking about other things that are reliable inside of a system, we come up with these weird ideas. Now, I don't know if you ever put up in a guardrail and ran into it, on how you kind of realize that that has a little bit more sustainability in regards of keeping something in a general direction opposed to a yellow line, opposed to a red light, opposed to a green light. And I say that for this whole standpoint of how is it these social agreements work? Because in the oddness of the whole thing, the very oddness of the whole thing, why is that okay? And remember, at some point, if you rode a bike, you took time to learn how to balance yourself on that thing, what exactly you were supposed to do when you got to certain things. Additionally, you even went further in if you learned how to drive a car. And it's so intriguing to me that these social agreements are okay. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying in general. So when you look at this, how do you look at how these things would apply overall? Because don't we make some level of a social agreement with the people that we work with? Don't we make a level of a social agreement with the things that we do at work and how we're going to rely on safety? And it's interesting specifically when you have a crew that has worked together for a while, that they would be willing to do certain things because they've known each other for a while where they don't even communicate. It's a social agreement that you have there with that working crew because of how much time you've spent with them. So as you're driving today or going around and about, I want you to think about the social agreements or maybe even the social contracts that you have with others, because that is always interesting to me in regards on how this world continues to move around.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to a mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author Jay Allen, PhD. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
If you're anything like me, you have certain tendencies to put things off, such as filing taxes, seeing the doctor, working on that home improvement project that you're supposed to be doing, but you just haven't gotten to it. And while most of the times it works out, the one thing in life that you really cannot afford to wait on is setting up term coverage life insurance. You've probably seen life insurance commercials on TV and thought, yeah, I'll look into it later. Well, the answer is no. This isn't something that you can wait for. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. Ladder is 100% digitals, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. When you apply for $3 million in coverage or less, just answer a few questions about your health in an application. Ladder's customers rate them 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot, and they've made Forbes' Best Life Insurance in 2021's list. You just need a few minutes and a phone or a laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithm works in real time, so you'll find out if you're instantly approved. No hidden fees, cancel anytime, get full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. Ladder policies are issued by insurers with long proven histories of paying claims. They're rated A and A+ by AM Best. Finally, since life insurance costs more as you age, now is the time to cross it off your list. So go to ladder.com/safetyfm today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/safetyfm. Ladderlife.com/safetyfm.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, so good to be alive as we are hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Currently 44 minutes past the top of the hour. This right here is Silverberg with So Good to Be Alive. Songs readily available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, and Pandora. Might want to give it a little streamer-emer action. We would like to thank Silverberg for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. No doubt about that. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk real quick about some things. Matter of fact, if anything, this might be the most important thing that I tell you in my lifetime. And that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. And the people at To Write Love on Her Arms want you to know that people have been where you are now, and healing is possible. Things can get better. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, there's going to be information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com, and go to the far right-hand side and click on the section that says Find Help. So there you go, TWLOHA.com. Let's talk about some other things going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that's kind of what we do around here. Oh, no, Joe. Almost everyone needs that early caffeine jolt to energize themselves in the morning, but according to new research, it affects lessons over time with consistent consumption. If you're finding that you need to drink more and more coffee to get the same boost, some medical experts say that you can try, resetting your tolerance by using the 3-1 rule. And what the hell does that mean? Well, let's talk about it. The coffee involves drinking, the coffee hack is like this. 3-1 coffee hack involves drinking coffee for 3 weeks, as you usually would, then taking a week off. The caffeine-free week gives your body a chance to reset so that you can feel the caffeine effects more strongly when you start drinking it again. Lindsay Malone, the instructor of clinical dietitians at Case Western Reserve University, says the 3-1 rule may restore coffee energizing effects more fully. It's also said that the effective for some who would be like to decrease their overall caffeine intake and become less reliant on the stuff. The problem? Dara Ford, Master Science Nutrition Education at the American University, said that the 3-1 coffee hack can also result in 1 week of withdrawal symptoms every month. That includes headaches, fatigue, irritability, and brain fog. Yes, but that might happen to my coworkers. So there you go. Or what might happen to my coworkers is probably the better question. Warning, this week without coffee might leave more than your mood backed up, if you know what I'm saying there. So what do you think there? It's an interesting one for some reason. I mean, when you kind of think about it. Let's talk about Did You Know real quick. Nearly half of adults have trouble reading their own handwriting, according to new research. A survey found that 2,000 adults in the U.S. that are not only do about 45% of things to struggle to figure out their own scribbling, but their poor penmanship has led on average to 2 instances of miscommunication with their colleagues. And despite the fact that so many have trouble reading their own work, many of us still prefer handwritten material. 86% said that they write notes to themselves as their main method of organization. Most often in this form list, the most misread items were grocery lists, greetings, or holiday cards. The thank you notes, but there you go. It gets kind of interesting when it's all said and done.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about this because it is definitely right around the corner. Conklin Conference coming up September the 9th through the 11th. We would love to see you out there in good old Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah, you will be able to hang out with the likes of Todd Conklin, Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Jennifer T. Long, Andrea Baker, Mark Yeston, and I'll be there in a hosting capacity. Would love to see you there to be able to discuss the world of human and organizational performance. Yeah, will be a good time as we over the 3-day workshop. We'll be talking a little bit about everything from in regards of how do you put hop into a system to all the way of talking about leadership in learning teams and the view of the workers. Yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. And maybe we'll even talk about some signal to noise because, I get to do the hosting aspect, so we'll be able to talk about some of that stuff as we move forward, no doubt about that. So there you go. Conklin Conference, just one more time on the screen. If you scan the QR code, it will take you to the website. If not, you can go to safetyfm.com and click under the section that says live events. Anyways, with that being said, I know this guy that is super positive. I would love to bring him in. His name is John Small, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Kyle. Mohandas K. Gandhi said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." I love this. We moved to a different community in 2006. A few years later, I was at an event and the host was amazed that we had only lived in the community for 2 years. He said, "But John, you know everyone in town and they all know you." I worked from home at the time, so it wasn't because of my job. I got involved in several local groups and I gave back as much as I could. I did that because I missed working with people. So I went out and I met people by pouring myself into our new community. We even started a big fun community event.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. I don't like to think of myself as a materialistic person, but driving away from Highway 12 East Storage Complex, I could hardly come to any other conclusion. For 9 years, I paid $37 a month to store things I hadn't used in nearly a decade. Added up, 9 years at $444 a year comes to $3,996. Now that's hardly what I would call good stewardship. Then Jesus said to them, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." Lord Jesus, save us from our greedy selves. Your holy name I pray. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Rated R Safety Show.
Ceasefire negotiations between Thailand and Cambodia have begun in Malaysia to address ongoing border clashes.
The conflict, now in its 5th day, has resulted in at least 32 deaths. Both nations are under pressure from international leaders to halt the violence. Talks aim to establish a temporary truce and open humanitarian corridors. The discussions were cut short today, raising concerns about escalating tensions. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Wildfires are raging along Turkey's Mediterranean coast, prompting disaster declarations in 2 western provinces. Joseph Eckerson with the latest.
Evacuations are underway as firefighters battle the blazes. The government has deployed additional resources to contain the fires. Local authorities report significant property damage, but no fatalities so far. Residents are urged to follow evacuation orders for safety.
Israel has implemented daily 10-hour pauses in fighting in Gaza's major population centers.
Airdrops of humanitarian aid began last night to address starvation reports. Over 120 deaths, mostly children, have been linked to hunger in the region. Limited aid supplies were delivered on the first day of the pause. Israeli officials are establishing corridors to facilitate further aid distribution. Chris Anderson reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
A federal judge dismissed a lawsuit challenging sanctuary policies in Illinois and Chicago.
The Trump administration had contested the policies, which limit cooperation with immigration enforcement. The ruling upholds local restrictions on assisting federal immigration actions. Cook County and Chicago officials welcomed the decision. The case may face further appeals. Lawrence Keller reporting.
An 18-year-old was arrested in a fatal shooting at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque.
The incident left a 14-year-old boy dead and another person injured. The shooting occurred during a video game session on campus. Police have not released details on the motive. The suspect is in custody pending further investigation. Kevin Sanders reporting.
A landlord convicted of killing a Palestinian-American boy and wounding his mother has died in prison.
The attack took place in Illinois and drew national attention. The landlord was serving a decades-long sentence. Authorities have not disclosed the cause of death. The case remains a focal point in discussions on hate crimes. Kyle Norris reporting.
A program training mental health professionals for rural Oklahoma schools faces funding cuts.
The U.S. Education Department issued a non-continuation notice for the grant. Over 200 similar programs nationwide are also affected. The initiative has been critical for addressing mental health needs in underserved areas. Oklahoma officials are seeking alternative funding sources. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Oh, I gotta love it. Gotta love it. I always love when this system gives up in regards of trying to be connected. It's like I never understand how that even happens. But I guess it's kind of the way that our little lovely radio thing works from time to time. Anyways, with that being said, let's continue talking about some things that happened back on this date, because that's kind of what we do around here. We talk a little bit about this, we talk a little bit about that, and that's just kind of the way that it goes. Back in 2021, gymnast Sunsisa Lee becomes the first American Olympic champion with her women artistic individual all around win in Tokyo. Lee came after teammate Simone Biles withdrew from the event, citing medical reasons. That happened back on this date in 2021. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, Dak Prescott turns 32, Chan Billingsworth turns 41, Allison Mack turns 43, Rachel Miner 45, Josh Rander 51, Will Wheaton, 53, Martina McBride, 59, Tim Gunn, 72, Geddy Lee, 72, and Charles Schwab, from that company, the business guy, he turns 88 today, just in case you were wondering. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, National Lasagna Day, National Chicken Wing Day, National Rain Day, and International Tiger Day. Tiger. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there. What else do we got for you? If you need a rando for you, I got a random joke. You know what bugs me? When you go to someone's house and they make you take your shoes off at the front door, 9 times out of 10, they don't have a bouncy castle, so it's very disappointing. Also, if you need a phone starter for today, try this. Batman got his name from his fear of bats. Using that logic, what is your superhero name? Okay, a study found that 5% of us are deadly afraid of this animal. What is it? This is for the water cooler, by the way. Birds. Yeah, for some reason, people are really afraid of birds. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I'll be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so, that would be fantastic. If not, that's okay too. You can hang out here on Safety FM, and you'll hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of that multiverse as we are doing our thingo. So anyways, if I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. That's something to think about. That's for sure. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios, as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and/or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.